what is Neuralink, and how do you think about it?
Yeah, the number one distinction that the listeners should start to make as they think about all these new technologies that are in the body is, are they surface level? Are they outside of my body? Are they things that I strap on, like my smartwatch, or maybe like a little EKG that's a little leads to measure your heartbeats that your doctor might send you home with? Those are surface level devices. Or is it an implanted device, right? Does it live primarily inside of my body, right? A Neuralink, unlike the things we investigate in my lab where we're probing the future of these externalized devices that you can take on and off very rapidly, Neuralink investigates a different future. And many other companies like Neuralink exist, I should note, of implanted devices, of devices that exist inside of your body. Now, Neuralink does even one different thing, which is they exist inside of your skull. So these are devices implanted close to brain cells, right? Really inside of your skull. Now, there are many things you can do with these brain-computer interfaces that are implanted. And of course, this technology has existed for a few decades, primarily to help patients. Either they're locked in and we can try to communicate or read from them if they're locked in, or even people with more complicated motor disorders like Parkinson's, tremors, and there's some deep brain stimulators that are implanted and they can help suppress Parkinson's tremors a little bit by turning on electricity in the right time, in the right place of the brain. But Neuralink is trying to do something a little bit different. Neuralink is trying to do a communication between a computer that sits outside and that device that sits inside of your body, right? So we can now have these implanted devices record electrical activity inside of your brain and translate it to the outside world, and maybe you can control a cursor in your screen, right? I could just imagine the cursor going up, and I see the cursor going up, and I could imagine the cursor moving down, and it moves down, and I can control the cursor. So you can imagine immediately, if you're a person with accessibility needs, if you're in a wheelchair, paraplegic, this is kind of game changing, and many companies are trying to do the same. Now, more recently, and Paul, maybe that's why you're mentioning Neuralink being so much on the news, is Neuralink is also on the news for trying to do not just reading, but writing to your brain, right? So I described when the devices are inside reading from your electrical activity, but, you know, neurons in most cells in your body go both ways. So if I can send a little current, just like we did for the electrical muscle stimulators, and it moves your body, we can also send a little current to your brain, and that maybe causes something to happen in your brain. And one very exciting area that these folks are looking at is, can we put those implants close to the parts of your brain that deal with vision, that deal with images that come from your eyes, and help maybe restore vision. Neuralink is not the only company trying to do that. There's many, many ways you can attempt restoring vision, but one exciting, maybe possible avenue in the future is that indeed you could help restore part of vision. People shouldn't immediately jump to conclusions that you're going to see in the same way that we see that we're many, 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 many decades away from that type of restoring vision. But imagine just being able to see lines or a few features of the world if you at the moment cannot see. So that's very exciting. And I agree with brain-computer interfaces for writing to the brain as being such a powerful tool. Other things are interesting in that realm too. In my lab, we do research using those same ideas, but for helping you learn to move faster or helping you learn new movements. We don't do it internally like Neuralink do, because we don't want our participants to have to take surgeries to put the electrodes inside. We just do it externally, so you can use big magnets to stimulate the inside of your brain in a safe and external manner. But it all falls into this category of, what could we do if we could interface with you by writing to your body, not just reading to your body, from your body?